It's time now for County-Wide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Brad Miller as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives here in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's County-Wide.
Good day, everybody. Welcome to the program. Brad Miller with you, and we're happy to welcome into our studio today Gayle Durkin. And Gayle is the Executive Director, Habitat for Humanity in the Verde Valley. Verde Valley Habitat for Humanity. There, I'll say it right. And we're going to talk a little bit about what Habitat for Humanity is. They are national, perhaps international even at this point. A big organization, I think most commonly kind of associated with former President Jimmy Carter, but certainly have made their presence known and are felt and appreciated throughout our country, including here in the Verde Valley. So with that, we say, Gayle, good day to you.
Thank you.
Good to have you in the studio with us.
I'm happy to be here.
Verde Valley Habitat for Humanity, and I think we have chapters. How many in the state? Do you know offhand?
I believe there's 12 to 14.
Okay.
I know one is in the process of merging down in the central Arizona.
Okay.
Central Phoenix area.
But going strong for some time now.
Very much.
In the Verde Valley, that encompasses Cottonwood, obviously. What else?
We service what we consider 8 communities: Cottonwood, Sedona, Jerome, Clarkdale, Cornville, Rimrock, Lake Montezuma, and who am I missing? I'm not sure.
Sedona?
I think I said
You might have said Sedona.
I did. But there's 8 communities in the surrounding area that we service. That means everything from building homes, but also pickups for our restore for their donations and things of furniture, appliances, and so forth.
It seems to me, I get the impression that in the Verde Valley, we kind of think these days of Habitat as a two-pronged entity, in that the more traditional thing, I think, is the building homes and all that. And I want to talk about that in a moment. But the Restore has had a high profile almost since it opened, in that still somewhat new location right on Main Street in Cottonwood. And it seems that there's an awful lot of activity there, and that it's really on the map with locals. Is it fair to kind of characterize Verde Valley Habitat for Humanity as kind of that two-headed thing, all feeding the one goal?
Definitely. Our Restore has been around for many years, but a year ago, early June, 1st of June, we opened our doors on Main Street, 737 South Main Street in Cottonwood, and it was amazing to me as a newcomer to the area, but also to hear, almost to this day, daily, we hear people saying, I didn't know we had a Habitat for Humanity, let alone the Restore. The Restore has seen in this past year almost triple sales compared, now that we have more exposure, It's been wonderful. And people, it amazes me, the people that come in on a regular basis. We have our regulars that come in every week looking for certain things, and then there are people finding us for the first time. Right.
And all of that feeds into, and funding goes toward, what I think is the traditional kind of mission, and what I think most of us who are somewhat familiar with Habitat consider to be, what it's really about, and that is helping folks who might need a hand, putting them in basically their own homes.
Right.
Okay.
The Restore really provides the funds to build our homes. We also, of course, depend on donations and fundraisers and things like that. However, our homes are built for families that are, number one, in need. They might be living in substandard housing. They might be paying way too much rent to be able to afford any kind of lifestyle. Otherwise, food on the table for the children and so forth. But also, they have to have the ability to pay for a mortgage just like anybody else owning a home. They do have to qualify. They have to show that they have had a employment record, that they can afford to make a mortgage payment. Our mortgages are 0% interest, which we hold as a mortgage holder at Verde Valley Habitat. And so their average mortgage payment is anywhere from $400 to $600 a month on average. So I don't think you could rent an apartment for that if you have a family. The other thing is the willingness to partner with us, because A family has to put in approximately 400 hours of sweat equity once we start that build. And it can be in other forms besides working on their build, on their home. They will be taking some classes in financial fitness, as we call it. Catholic Charities has partnered with us. They do a wonderful program. They do a 3-part series on finance. I sat in that series, and it was very much anybody should take it. Mm-hmm. We all learned something, took something away from it, even if we've already known some of those things of managing our money. But then there's another 12-part series that they take that has to do with home ownership, responsibility, owning a home. There's something goes wrong, you've got to know how to take care of it. That also, those hours spent going to those classes go toward their sweat equity. And husband and wife, and if they have, say, teenage, high school age children, they can also all participate, and it helps them accumulate those hours.
Right.
Yeah.
How are the families found in the first place and identified before that process, even an application process even starts? How do they come to you?
Sometimes they do. I know we have people walk in the Restore to our offices that are there as well. Maybe once a week we get somebody that walks in and says, I would like to find out about applying for a home. We also do this spring, early spring actually, it was the beginning of March I believe, we did a series of 3 scheduled orientations. We gave a variety of times and days so that to accommodate different people's work schedules. We asked that you could stop into one of those orientations. We answer all the questions. We go through a PowerPoint presentation that explains the process, and then we are there for questions and answers. It helps people decide if it's something they should pursue, right. And then once they go through that, or they find us, and we do try to run ads and articles in the papers seeking families, and we're always taking applications. We have what is called a Family Selection Committee, and I want to tell you, they work so hard. These are dedicated people. They're under a very strict confidentiality agreement. Every bit of paperwork is kept under lock and key because we're delving into people's personal lives. And I sit in on those meetings, so I always kind of know where they are with things. A lot of people don't make it through the first phase, which is what we call a pre-screen application, which is what they send out to those immediate applicants. Right. If they make it through the pre-screening application, then they move on to a full-on application. At that time, they start to sit down with the family and go through important points such as income. Do you have a savings? And then if they make it through that application process, Family Selection will send out, usually it's always like 2 people. In our case, in this case, we've just selected a family that is a husband, wife, and high school age daughter. So when they did the home visit, they go out to that person's home and sit down with them. And we sent out from Family Selection a man and a woman just to make everybody feel comfortable. Yeah. We're not there to inspect their home, not in any way. They are there to just start to continue to build the relationship with these people, because obviously they've made it to this point, and we're seeing that they're a possibility for a home. Sure. By doing that home inspection, it also clarifies the need that they have in the application process. Again, it could be substandard housing and so forth that in many cases, and I've sat in on meetings down in Central Phoenix, or Central Arizona, I should say, I've listened to scenarios. It's really sad to hear what some people, how they're living, and we all take for granted that we go home to a nice, safe, clean home at night to rest our head at the end of a busy day. We want these families to have a home that is safe, decent, affordable, and give them maybe a fresh start on life even. Sure. So, yeah.
Does the typical, I don't know if there is such a thing as a typical, it seems that most of the time when we hear about this, we do follow up, that typically a family will have kids at home, children at home age.
Right.
Is that a criteria or a requirement, or?
Not even. Okay. We will take we consider a family could be one person. Sure. We don't eliminate that ever as a possibility. It could be someone truly in need. However, it seems in our past history, it has fallen into the more typical family. It could be a single parent and children, or a child or 2 children or more. It could be a husband and wife, parents, normal, traditional family of parents and children.
Okay, a little bit of everything. It just seems like many times when we hear that it is a family. It's oftentimes with like say young kids or school age kids. We need to take a break. We're just kind of getting warmed up here. I want to ask you, the home building has been down in general. I want to ask how, if at all, that's affected Habitat. How many homes there are in a year's time, or what have you locally. And so plenty more to come when we return. We'll take a break on Countywide. Gayle Durkin, Habitat for Humanity in the Verde Valley. We're back after this.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
I think someone at my friend's school has this thing called autism. My friend's brother's son has autism. My neighbor's son has autism. My son has autism.
Autism is getting closer to home. Today, 1 in 110 children is diagnosed with autism. That's a 600% increase in the last 20 years. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Danse, balance sur la cadence, ondule bien tes hanches, au bal du dimanche. Danse, que la fête commence. Dans ma belle...
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
Welcome back to the program. It's Countywide. Brad Miller with you and Gayle Durkin, our guest today. Verde Valley Habitat for Humanity, vvhabitat.org on the website, a place to find them, and a good website. A lot of information there for folks from however you're kind of coming at the organization. If you want to be a part of the group, perhaps a resource provider, or a family looking for a home, that's a good place to start. Or stop by, I suppose. They can come and see your happy face. Very nice and easy lady to talk to. So one way or another, if you want to get involved, don't hesitate to do that. We've had a downturn in home building. It seems to be coming back. We're starting to hear that it is in Arizona, elsewhere, but here in our state. Has that had an impact on what you do?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Our last home was dedicated about 2 years ago, which is longer than we wanted to see happen. We have seen more families apply for a home than ever in the past.
Sure.
One of the goals last summer, when I was quite new at my position, was I had these pie-in-the-sky ideas that we were going to find a rehab or two, which Habitats do, and get going by October. We made many offers on many homes that were available, maybe either in foreclosure or bank-owned, and hoping to start a rehab and get the momentum going again. However, we never got our hands on a rehab. It seemed like there are investors out there and such that just came in and scooped them up right out from under our offers, so we never got to do that. But because of the strength we had as of the first of this year with our family selection committee and our construction committee, we are now full on ready to go with our normal procedure, which is to start from ground up. And that's a good thing because in answering your question, of course, we have seen more homes available more people applying for homes, and now we've even been donated, I should say, 2 very nice pieces of property that we will be building on eventually.
Okay.
So
I know that sometimes in the past, maybe I shouldn't say I know, I've heard this, that a lot of times when you do this, you'll get builders who donate some labor.
Yes.
You'll get some who donate material, combinations there, of both, and on down the line. Has that pulled back at all because of the home building downturn? Has that been part of what's caused the little bump?
I would honestly say a little bit, yes. I mean, it's not that it's what it once was, but we have felt very fortunate because people have stepped forward to offer their help in all of those ways, whether it be materials or labor. We are still needing help in those areas, of course. If there are contractors out there in specific categories, it could be plumbing, it could be those people that do framing and things like that. We need to hear from those people. We also are out there, we are getting bids for materials. We're going to start an annual bid process that as we get the momentum of building, our goal is to be building 4 houses in a year down within the next 5 years. Because of the properties we currently have, we want to see that happen. So no, we do need help from any of those people.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And they can simply contact your office, I guess, to get that ball rolling. It's pretty easy, really, to get kind of involved in Habitat. Just pay a visit or start online or what have you, vvhabitat.org, and get going from there. Is there, I keep using the word typical, but is there, when you mentioned there's 2 properties that were acquired that are now yours that'll be built on at some point.
Yes.
Is there such thing as a typical house? Is it a simple framed house? Is there an architect involved? How does it work?
All of the above, so to speak. We own 4 properties now. As I mentioned, the 2 that were more recently donated and 2 that we had for the last couple of years. Our homes are built square footage-wise based on the family makeup.
Okay.
If you have a parent or 2 parents, there's 1 bedroom.
I'm sorry, but you know the family before you have the house.
We have to have the family. Yes, we pick the family before we plan which house plan we will use on that property.
Oh, I didn't quite realize that.
Yes,
okay.
because there is a criteria that we do have to follow. We're not building these custom extravagant homes, obviously, but we're building nice, solid, basic homes for a family. If you had a family with a parent or 2 parents, there's 1 bedroom. If that family has a boy and a girl, we can't put opposite sex children in a bedroom.
Okay.
They would each have to have their own bedroom. So then that brings it to a 3-bedroom home.
Okay.
Perhaps you have parents or a parent that has 1 child. It could be a 2-bedroom home. Our square footage averages anywhere from 900 up to about 12 to 1,400 square feet. Again, just depending on the makeup of the family. They may have an elderly parent living with them that requires their own room, things like that. So we base the floor plans. Now, we have floor plans for all of those possibilities, and we're also considering things like handicap and wider doorways and hallways and things like that.
Right. Okay. So you guys have done some homework on this. Not brand new to this thing by any means.
It's been a process.
Yeah. Well, I would assume, but I just not being familiar. But it makes perfect sense that you're going to build. So they are custom homes in that sense.
Yes.
That it's going for the family. But these aren't shabby. These are sound structures. These are going to be there for a little while. Talk to me about that.
Well, the average mortgage of our homeowners is around 20 to 25 years. We could probably go as long as 30 years. Well, I'd like to think that home is still standing in 30 years. But we also depend on our contractors to build a solid home. We realize that nothing is perfect. If there is a problem, we certainly would always be there for the family to go back in. Matter of fact, through our family selection committee, we have what we call family partnering. It's a branch off of the committee, and usually 1 member of that committee will work with that family from the time they from the time they're selected until they're in their home, and right on through the time they live in that home. A family could sell the home at some point if it was a minimum of, I believe it's 20 years, or if they've paid off that mortgage, which doesn't likely happen.
Sure.
However, we as Verde Valley Habitat for Humanity get first right of refusal. We would most likely buy that home back from them and then place another family in it if these people needed to move for employment reasons or something.
Gotcha. Okay. Take another short break. Gayle Durkin, Verde Valley Habitat for Humanity, our guest today. We'll be back right after this.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
I was in junior high the first time I caught my mom using denial. She had to have known her painkillers were missing because I kept stealing them. Her denial was so out of hand.
So she doesn't even know?
I'm going out.
It was like I could get away with anything.
You kids have fun.
And that was when I knew. When she was addicted to denial.
Denial is a drug. Get help. The partnership at drugfree.org.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Now, some action from the courts. Billie Jean King renewing her rivalry with Arthritis. First set, furious volley, and right to the net for a winner. Beautiful forehand there. Arthritis, stunned. And here, match point. Billie Jean with the ace, taking it in straight sets. Afterwards, a jubilant Billie Jean King.
Tennis is a weapon for me with arthritis. There's nothing like it for me to hit a ball, run to the ball, anytime, any court. I'm ready. Let's go.
What's your weapon against arthritis? Find out at fightarthritispain.org.
Welcome back to the program. Again, our guest Gayle Durkin today, Verde Valley Habitat for Humanity. You don't do it alone over there. There's volunteers, there's a board. Tell me about some of the support and maybe some of the support that you're still needing.
Yes. Well, we have many cubby holes that need to be filled.
Sure.
Our board of directors is growing. We are fortunate to have very committed people so far, but we need probably 3 or 4 minimum more people. But these need to be people from the community that are maybe in business, can be adversaries for us, as well as wonderful advisors when we have certain issues to discuss and tackle. We have committees that we still need to grow and actually start. I need a fundraising committee. I need somebody that will help us with our marketing and planning of events and things. We do have a fundraiser coming up a week from Thursday on the 19th of July. It's going to be held at Rendezvous in Old Town Cottonwood from 6 to 8 p.m. and we would love anybody to come out and join us for that, or if they want to call the Restore and get further information. Also, I am running an ad currently we are running an ad currently for a Restore manager. That's a full-time position.
Okay.
And it's going to be someone I really look forward to having, take some things off my desk, but also a part-time volunteer coordinator. And that would be somebody that's going to be working with us in our Restore, with construction when construction is underway, because we send out groups to the construction site. And so that person will be having a lot of fun, but be in touch with a lot of people.
Yeah, there's a lot to it.
Yes, there is.
When we think about this, when we opened the show, we kind of started kind of wading into really how deep this goes. And just your chapter, Verde Valley Habitat for Humanity in Cottonwood, based in Cottonwood, really has a lot of tentacles that reach out and touch a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. So continued success there. But if you have resources that you might chip in some way or another, they could be financial, they could be some of the volunteers, some of the committee volunteers that Gayle is talking about and asking for. Don't be shy about getting involved. Again, vvhabitat.org. Good talking with you, Gayle Durkin.
Thank you for having us.
Verde Valley Habitat for Humanity. We thank you much for joining us. It's countywide, and we'll see you next time.